Right2water has over 30 TDs, and we've been consistently calling for the full abolition of water charges, the ending of the metering campaign, and constitutional protection for public ownership of our water services. We had 5 members of the Water Committee, and our collective view is the report, which we're going to vote on later today, is an enormous victory for the Right2water campaign. Charges are gone, mandatory metering is gone, and the constitutional protection for public ownership is there. On Saturday there's a demonstration called by Right2water, and we're urging all of those people who've supported this campaign to come out on Saturday, not only to celebrate our victory, but also to send a very, very clear signal to Simon Coveney and the government that they set up this committee. They said that they would implement its recommendations, and despite what we've heard from the Minister today, we want them to implement the recommendations of this committee.
Today is a great day of victory for the Right2water campaign and the people right across Ireland who campaigned against the unfair water charges. And while we have this victory today in terms of the committee report, a lot of work still needs to be done, and we need a large mobilisation on Saturday to send a very clear message to the government that we will not accept any prevaricating on the implementation of the Oireachtas Committee report, and we need to see that pushed through as quickly as possible, and also to ensure that the bill, Joan Collins's bill on the referendum for public ownership of water passes through committee stage and is enacted, and we get that referendum in place.
Yeah, the unprecedented movement of people power in this country over the last 2 years has imposed its will on Dáil Éireann, and that has resulted in an unprecedented victory for that movement in terms of a recommendation from an all-party committee now to get rid of water charges, to get rid of metering, to repay the charges that people were bullied into paying, and to ensure that there are no back doors to the return of water charges in the future. But the sad thing is that Fine Gael are showing utter contempt for democracy, for the will of the people, and for the truth in terms of what happened over the last few weeks. They are trying to rewrite history. They are in denial. They have no respect either for the all-party Oireachtas Committee or, more importantly, for the will of the people who have clearly stated their view that these charges must go and must never come back again. So Fine Gael would just want to cop on to themselves now and accept that the people have spoken, that water charges must go, and that no more back doors can be left open to their return. And just finally, I just want to say, the nonsense we've heard from Fine Gael spokespeople about their concern for EU directives and for conservation is nothing but dishonest nonsense and bluster. We are in multiple breach of EU directives over environment, like the EIA directive, which we will actually be fined for. The government refused to take the 13 billion that Europe wants to pay us back over Apple, and yet incredibly they say, oh, we mustn't be in breach of EU rules, when in fact the all-party Oireachtas Committee perfectly complies with the EU Water Framework Directive. So Fine Gael should drop the nonsense, accept they've been defeated, and accept the will of the people that water charges are gone and aren't coming back.
The recommendations of this committee are a significant victory for water tax protesters who turned out in their hundreds of thousands over the last number of years, and I want to salute them for the way they conducted themselves and the way they opposed these charges from day one. There are still dangers involved, and we want to ask them to turn out again on Saturday at this national demonstration here in Dublin to send a very strong message to this government to respect democracy and to implement the recommendations of the committee, and indeed the results of the last general election in legislation in the very near future. Thank you.
The 30 TDs that are signed up to the Right2water campaign are, part of what was a reflection of the general election, where the majority of TDs elected were opposed to water charges, and this result today, when it hopefully concludes, is essentially a reflection of that. It shouldn't come as a surprise that that is the case. This was a campaign and a movement that was generated from the bottom up. It wasn't the creature of any political party or politician. It was very much a people's movement. Essentially, I think to the idea that Fine Gael, who are in a minority position, will feel that they can impose a minority view on the majority, I think is unacceptable. There is still to be done, more to be done, obviously, in relation to the report concluding and legislation reflecting that. So obviously this is not concluded, but again, hopefully on Saturday there will be a show of strength that will show that the movement is still very much there and watching, and I think that attention should be paid to that. Thank you.